To conclude, the financial benefits for JP Morgan of ThinkSheet's real world, yesterday, today, and tomorrow platform will be exponential. This video is all about the cumulative benefits of ThinkSheet's professional intelligence platform, technological breakthrough, making the thought process ecosystem possible. The starting point is a data ecosystem in the Google graphic that follows. Then ThinkSheet's professional intelligence platform and visual intelligence platform that combines professional and artificial intelligence to create the thought process ecosystem to be led by giants like Microsoft and Google in the US. Qualitative analysis is the biggest challenge for decision-making involving uncertainty, according to Mervyn King, former head of the Bank of England during the financial crisis, in his book, Radical Uncertainty, Decision-Making Beyond the Numbers. Jamie Dimon doesn't rely upon models for final decisions because they don't capture major catalysts like culture, character, and technological advances. And complex qualitative factors like supply chain issues, sanctions, and a reversal of QE in the face of unparalleled inflation are impossible to model. But he is unaware that ThinkSheet users like Morgan Stanley equity analysts have been quantifying catalysts in their thought processes as a whole since 2005. And Bloomberg users can see the reasons for their answers. And all JP Morgan professionals can leverage the 200 plus professional intelligence models in the ThinkSheet model library to model their personal thought processes. The real world is multidimensional and interconnected, as you can see in this map of Xi Jinping's Belt and Road project by The Economist. With the new polycrisis buzzword at Davos. The core obstacle to modeling Jamie Dimon's critical issues is scoring symbolic language, illustrated by our often referenced MD Anderson Cancer Center project. The IBM Watson's problem was that the IBM Watson problem was that the AI algorithms The IBM Watson's problem was that its AI algorithms could not accurately score the acronyms of the oncologist. So how can JP Morgan leverage ThinkSheet's professional intelligence? Let's use the country risk reward use case we developed with a strategist. Let's use the country risk reward use case we co-developed with a strategist for a global investment bank as an example. The framework is comprehensive, versatile, and dynamic. First, the catalyst. Next, political and social submetrics like geopolitics and animal spirits. The risk factors are dynamic and vary by scenarios. And the X factors, like new COVID variants. And of course, the quantitative, which JP Morgan already has. The China soft versus hard landing scenarios were based in large part on the Bloomberg TV debates between Stephen Roach and Jim Chanos during the financial crisis, whether China would experience a soft or hard landing. This is a quick view of the ranking of the major economies in the soft landing scenario. Note, our videos are loaded with detailed use cases like this that you can review at your leisure. This view compares China's ranking of second for the Roach soft landing scenario with seventh and last for China's hard landing. The one-pager changes in real time as their judgments change. Many of the issues are relevant today, and Roach and Chanos are still opining on China, making it easy to update the scenarios for their new positions. ThinkSheet is an enterprise application that all JP Morgan professionals can use to model their most complex and important decisions. Jamie Dimon can use ThinkSheet to collaborate with the business and AI leaders for all of his most important decisions as CEO. Use cases include business resiliency, disruptive technology adoption, risk management, AI development, and a potential case study documented. Risk management, AI development, and a potential case study docuseries of how JP Morgan uses ThinkSheet over time to create maximum value institutional knowledge. Risk management, AI development, and a case study docuseries of how JP Morgan uses ThinkSheet over time to capture and reuse its most valuable institutional knowledge. We now move to AI and the thought process ecosystem, the greatest potential competitive advantage. The AI can AI competition and funding, government and private sector. AI competition and funding, government and private sector, is in a frenzy, like the growth of the internet in the 90s. The introduction of OpenAI last November has been a mega catalyst for AI becoming top of mind for both business. The introduction of OpenAI last November has become the ecosystem. The introduction of OpenAI last November has been a mega catalyst for AI, becoming top of mind not only for AI engineers, but also business leaders and individuals. Microsoft is considering increasing its initial $3 billion investment in OpenAI by $10 billion. And Silicon Valley is in an investment frenzy over generative artificial intelligence, even amid the current tech gloom. With the Chinese trouncing the US in AI research output and quality. My co-founder, Dr. Roy Friedman, is a pioneer in AI and fintech and a professor of financial and risk engineering at NYU Tander School of Engineering. All of his students are Chinese, and all of his classes are virtual. Let's look at the Google AI graphic. Google describes the components as an open, unified, and intelligent data ecosystem with data at its core. ThinkSheet's visual intelligence platform can elevate Google's data ecosystem into a far more valuable thought process ecosystem, with the ThinkSheet one-pager as the ultimate output value. Together with Microsoft's contribution to the thought process ecosystem. So what can your leaders do with the one-pager in meetings that they can't do with any? So what can your leaders do with the one-pager in meetings that they can't do with any other commercially available tools? Quantify their qualitative and quantitative analysis, see their whole story at a glance, iterate through what-if scenarios at speed of thought, and ThinkSheet generates their complete, precise answer as a set of scores for each scenario instantly. possibly on Bloomberg terminals in the future. For now, they can use our ThinkSheet Equities app on the Bloomberg app portal with the one pages for target price forecast for JP Morgan stock and portfolio ranking app for global banks, and then scale the technology to other asset classes and businesses. ThinkSheet's value proposition is an exponential increase in time to value for you. ThinkSheet's value proposition is an exponential increase in time to value for you and your customers. Exponential value, better decisions plus reusable institutional knowledge by preserving the thought processes of your top minds in ThinkSheet model libraries. Time savings, faster decisions and workflows. Cost savings, your leaders create value in the ordinary course of business, such as cost savings. Your leaders, like Jamie Dimon, create value in the ordinary course of business, such as routine cost savings. Your leaders, like Jamie Dimon in the C-suite, create cost savings. Your leaders, like Jamie Dimon, the C-suite, and AI engineers, create value in the ordinary course of business, such as routine meetings. They create far greater value with ThinkSheet than without it in the same amount of time. JP Morgan had 2022 revenue base. JP Morgan had a 2022 revenue base to grow of $130 billion and approximately $500,000 per employee, according to Burton Taylor, with a $14 billion technology budget. A tech strategist who has spent his entire career working with the C-suite and tech leaders at large financial institutions uses this graphic to explain why the collaboration between JP Morgan's business and AI leaders starts a tech strategist who has spent his entire career working with the C-suite and tech leaders at large financial institutions uses this graphic to explain why the collaboration between your business and AI leaders starts and ends with the one-pager and leads to a huge increase in the productivity from the professional and artificial intelligence workflows in the smartphone analogy video. An analogy is Google scoring human intelligence first and then using AI to aggregate the scores to steal the search market from Alta Vista. ThinkSheet uses a similar sequence to solve the symbolic language, enabling professionals like the MD Anderson oncologist to score their acronyms and then have AI ThinkSheet uses a similar sequence to solve the symbolic language problem, enabling professionals like the MD Anderson oncologist to score their acronyms and then have AI aggregate the scores. In other words, PI first and then AI. ThinkSheet uses scores, transforms their judgments, data, and thought processes into maximum value data for the AI to process at minimal time and cost. Jamie Dimon's 66-page letter to shareholders on April 4th of last year is an example. We have modeled his thought process in the letter and integrated relevant modules in multiple use cases, such as business resiliency, global macro, and equities. ThinkSheet models increase cognition, value, speed, and memory, shorten letters, reports, and presentations, like the Morgan Stanley reports, so more people read them, generate huge AI time and cost savings because the teams create their models in the ordinary course of business. By comparison, think of the extraordinary time and cost of gathering, training, and testing data to create AI-generated models of the thought processes of these people. ThinkSheet's unique qualitative intelligence platform provides the tools for professionals to quantify the qualitative and the quantitative and synthesize the two to model their best thought process, i.e., their professional intelligence. The methodology starts with the qualitative intelligence, then the quantitative, and then the professional intelligence, and then links the professional intelligence, thought processes, and scores to the artificial intelligence to create the Six Sigma synthesized thought process ecosystem workflow. This is the ThinkSheet home run, a profoundly more productive modeling workflow than just quant models and AI. So what assets and expertise will ThinkSheet provide JP Morgan? First, our scientific approach to qualitative analysis based on my experience as a lawyer, investment banker, and software engineer. The first question we ask is whether the best, fastest, and least expensive model input-output is a judgment. If so, we use it. If not, quant models and AI. The ThinkSheet visual intelligence platform is unique, broad, and deep in terms of methodologies, assets, models, videos, and tools. It has been co-developed with premier professionals. One of our goals is to partner with JP Morgan and others One of our goals is to partner with JP Morgan and other professionals. One of our goals is to partner with JP Morgan and other leading firms to implement our Thought Leader Thought Processes project, to build comprehensive use cases of the thought processes of people we've been modeling for years, like Xi Jinping, Jamie Dimon, Walter Isaacson, and like Xi Jinping, Jamie Dimon, Walter Isaacson, and Hank Paulson. All JP Morgan professionals can use ThinkSheet. Law is law is law may be the greatest example of what ThinkSheet can do to enhance existing processes and tools. Law is currently 100% qualitative text. ThinkSheet's case-based reasoning methodology quantifies the case method, in effect, what lawyers already do in the ordinary course of business. Imagine the cost savings and settlement advantage of using ThinkSheet models for litigation. Beneficiaries include general counsel, outside counsel, senior management, the board of directors, regulators, and investors. Examples are BP's Deep Horizon litigation, the Apple Qualcomm patent litigation, Goldman's One IDB Malaysia, and now the FTX bankruptcy. ThinkSheet models can enhance all of JP Morgan's media and conferences businesses, like the Roach Chanos debates. David Rubenstein for peer-to-peer interviews. If he doesn't want to, if your hosts don't want to disturb the personal experience of the videos, the producers and analysts can develop ThinkSheet videos to summarize the key takeaways. Finally, JP Morgan can increase its institutional knowledge by saving and reusing your best ThinkSheet models. Authors and subjects provide a wealth of publicly available knowledge. Authors and subjects provide a wealth of publicly available knowledge to ThinkSheet. Also, podcasts like Walter Isaacson's in any thought leaders. And components from any thought leaders can be combined and components of any thought leaders can be and thought components of any thought leaders can be combined in new think sheet models. And finally, leverage the thought processes of potential think sheet partners like Google, Microsoft, Amazon. And finally, leverage the thought processes of potential think sheet partners like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Bloomberg, OpenAI, Blackstone, Goldman Sachs. And finally, leverage the thought processes of potential think sheet partners like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Bloomberg, OpenAI, Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, And finally, leverage the thought processes of potential think sheet partners like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Bloomberg, OpenAI, Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, and Morgan Stanley. A comparison test to conclude. First, search output value. Think sheet one pages will be far more valuable than Google page rankings that require reading through the web pages and OpenAI conversations that don't include the sources. Think sheet modeling tools enable JP Morgan teams and customers to model their complete thought processes, qualitative and quantitative, and add one pages to their podcasts and conferences. And finally, leverage ThinkSheet's visual thought process ecosystem. And finally, leverage the thought process ecosystem to add ThinkSheet models for meetings, reports, presentations, conferences, television, YouTube, and documentaries. If your users can think it, speak it, write it, or even dream it, they can think sheet it. And JP Morgan can have the first mover advantage in the mammoth new visual intelligence market, i.e., all professionals and experts worldwide. An increase market cap, revenues, PE, ROE, and dividends. An increase revenues, an increase key metrics like market cap, revenues, PE, ROE, and dividend yield.